Hello, everyone. Welcome to another live career show with me, Heather Austin from ProfessorAustin.com. I can see there's a lot of you in the chat already. I see a lot of familiar faces. Say hi when you get here. If you haven't already said hello, don't be shy. Come into the chat and say hi. Let us know where you are joining us from today. We have a very special live career show for you today. We are talking all about COVID-19, or what we call the coronavirus, and how it is affecting your job search and how it will affect your job search and your career in the future. Now, we have some fantastic resources for you today, a lot of good information. Make sure you are listening up, make sure you take notes. Also, if you are excited about this topic, and excitement might be the wrong word, but if you're looking forward to this topic, give me a big thumbs up. Let me know that you are here. Let me know that you're ready for this. Also, if you have not yet subscribed to my channel, make sure you do that. We might make a regular live stream out of this after all. So thank you everyone for being here. I want to say hello to you guys in the chat because I appreciate you taking the time to be here with me. I know that with what's happening right now, sometimes I wake up and I feel like I'm in the twilight zone. If you feel the same, let me know. Or sometimes I feel like we are dreaming and we are all in this together. And I'm so happy that I have some time to spend with you guys and that you have some time to spend with me so that we can kind of break the monotony of what's happening and just spend a couple minutes with each other on this live stream. So today I have slides for you. I have resources. I have links that I'm going to be sharing with you today. I also have a template for you at the very end of some of the information I'm going to share. So make sure you get ready to take a screenshot of that. We have so much fantastic information. While we are jumping into this, and while I'm saying hello to you guys in the chat, I want to ask you a quick question and tell me, and you can do a scale of 1 to 10 if you want on this question, but I want to know in the chat, how affected are you by the coronavirus? So 1 being you're still kind of maintaining your level of normalcy, 10 being your level of normalcy is totally off kilter, like you are doing things differently than you've ever done. It's affecting you in a big way. Let me know on a scale of 1 to 10, how affected are you by the coronavirus? And I'm going to say hello to you guys also in the chat. The chat's kind of moving fast, so I'm having a hard time keeping up, but it looks like Rachel's here from Singapore. Hello, Rachel. So good to have you. I noticed that Kimberly jumped in at the beginning. Let's see, who else do we have here? Kristen is here. Hello from Texas. Tal, I'm so happy that you made it. Is here from Maryland. Laura, so happy to have you, Laura from Waco. Looks like you guys are getting to know each other because we were live last week, 3 days. We had an awesome workshop, and I know you guys connected with each other in the chat. Martin is here from Ireland. So glad you could make it, Martin. No, it's probably nighttime for you. Robert, hello. I haven't seen you for a while. So glad you're here. Kevin is here. Of course, we have Tori here, you guys. She is my team member here. She's moderating the chat and she's also taking questions from you. So if you have a question, pop into the chat your question. Give us a couple question marks so we know it's a question. She will get the questions through to me so that I can answer those for you. So I want to know, again, on a scale of 1 to 10, how affected are you by the coronavirus? So Kimberly says 5. Kevin says 8.9 or 8 to 9. Rachel 7. Khalid says 6. John says 8. Hello, John. So glad you're here too. Richard says, I'm a manager in the hospitality industry and I live in Las Vegas. Oh, that's getting hit pretty hard right now. I understand, Richard. So today, my goal is to share with you guys as much valuable information as possible based on either my own experience, based on industry experts, based on the information that I've researched and that I've learned, just to help you kind of navigate this crazy time that we're in. So I'm going to be sharing actually today with you 5 tips. So 5 tips. We're going to keep it simple, and I also want to have some time at the end to actually answer your questions. So we're going to be sharing 5 tips with you to help you navigate the coronavirus outbreak. Okay, and these tips are pretty simple, and I'm going to be giving some background information on each of these. So make sure you take notes as we go throughout this live stream. So the very first tip that I want to share with you is don't stop your job search. Now, I know that in the midst of all this crazy time and all this stuff that's happening, you might be tempted to just stop looking for a job or stop moving forward in that process. But that's actually the worst thing you could do right now. You want to keep moving forward with your job search. Believe it or not, hiring has not stopped. Now, it has slowed down in some industries, but there are some industries, and I'm going to share that with you by the end of this live stream today, that are actually seeing an uptick. And I'm going to give you exact examples of areas that are seeing an uptick in hiring. But don't stop your job search. You want to make sure you're keeping in touch with hiring officials all over. If you already have that relationship built with them, just try building new relationships. Don't stop what you're doing. You want to keep sending your resume. You want to keep sending your cover letter, keep reaching out, doing whatever you can, because let me tell you, in the midst of all this chaos, people will stop what they're doing. They will put things on hold, either because they're crippled by the fear or the anxiety, and they won't move forward. So you have to be at the forefront of this. You have to be the one taking the steps in the beginning to make sure if hiring in your industry does pick up again, or when that hiring is going to happen, you have the tools and the resources available so that you are ready for that opportunity. Now, keep in mind that smart employers are the ones that are vetting talent right now. They're the ones that are looking for individuals to hire because they know that a huge population of job seekers are home. They're home right now. They're searching for jobs. You have a little bit more time on your hand potentially. And so they know that, so they will be reaching out to you. So again, and I'll give you guys more tips here in just a second, but again, do not stop your job search. This is not the time to stop your job search. You want to keep going and looking for that position, because hiring has not stopped. Okay, that was tip number 1. Let's jump into tip number 2, or step number 2, is be prepared for more phone and video interviews. Now, phone and video interviews are going to take a little bit different shape than your in-person interview. It still will be relatively the same, but because a lot of the marketplace is working from home right now or working remotely, you want to make sure you are ready for those phone and those interviews, those phone and video interviews. Now, I'm going to give you guys a couple tips, and then I'm also going to share some videos with you that will help you with this concept, so that when that video interview or that phone interview comes up, you know exactly what to do. So again, when it comes to preparing, make sure for both of these, you're in a quiet place. Make sure that you have no distractions. Make sure you have a really good connection. You also want to treat your phone and your video interview just like a real person interview. So again, you don't necessarily have to dress up in a phone interview, right? But in a video interview, you will dress the part. Okay. We're not keeping this casual at all. We are showing hiring officials that we mean business and we are ready to work. Now, don't be afraid also during your phone or your video interview to have notes in front of you about things you want to talk about, have your resume in front of you, just have those resources available so that you can quickly convey your thoughts and kind of your accomplishments. So again, keep notes in front of you, quiet place, no distractions. Now, here's an interesting thing to keep in mind is a lot of larger organizations and those job seekers that are out there, you guys know this already, that they are now resorting to more video interviews. So like Amazon, Google, Facebook, a lot of those larger organizations are trying to streamline the approach to the interview, of course, because we can't really meet in person right now. So I'm going to give you 2 forms of how your interview is going to happen. Your video interview, you will either have like some sort of one-way interview or some sort of conversational, so more what we call like a live video interview. So a one-way video interview is going to be where they present you with like a platform or an app, and you log in and they show you questions on the screen. Now, I've had these before, and my first one, I was terrified and I thought I did terrible. and I ended up getting hired. But the funny thing is, most everyone thinks they do really bad on these video interviews because they're not used to them. But just know, if you think you did bad, your competition probably did worse. So don't be too hard on yourself when it comes to the video interview. But a one-way video interview is where they will ask you questions on the screen. You're not talking to anyone. These are a little bit more awkward because a question pops up and then you have to answer it. It gives you like 30 seconds to think about it, and then you answer it, and then you move on to the next question, and it gives you another 30 seconds to like think about it, and then you're on, and then you have to answer it. And sometimes it's a little bit longer depending on how the company sets this up. Now, these types of interviews will happen probably more frequently, of course, moving into, I would say, even the next couple weeks, next couple months. So be prepared for those. And then you'll also have live interviews. This is where there's a person on the other end, sometimes multiple people. So this is using like software called Zoom or even Skype. And there's probably other software pieces or apps that companies use. But these two are going to be the most common forms of video interview. The live video interview is a little bit easier because you have a person there and they can ask you a question and you almost can banter a little bit. Like you can laugh, you can you can talk about the situation that's going on, where one-way interview, you really don't have that chance because no one's there. It's just you. Now, I have two really good resources for you. So Tori's going to pop that into the chat. Also, if you are watching us on the replay, these are all below in the description below this video. But I also want you to say hello if you're watching on the replay. Tell us where you're coming from in the comments below the video. So the phone interview video, that is a video that will walk you exactly through how to complete your phone interview. And then your video interview is another video. Tori will pop that into the chat. Now, I want to know, before I move into step number 3, have you in the last couple weeks had a phone or a video interview? So just type yes or a no. I want to kind of gauge to see how, if you guys are seeing that uptick as well right now, or if it's something that we are going to be seeing more in 2 or 3 weeks. I kind of believe it's probably happening really hard right now. So let me know. Give me a yes or no in the chat. And if you have not yet said hi and you're listening in, say hi. Don't be shy. I like to create a very engaging live stream session. I'm very much an extrovert. So I love communicating with you guys online. I love that you're here. I want to know if you have had a phone interview, or maybe it's already scheduled, phone or video interview the last couple days, or moving into the next week. It looks like, let me see, Kristen had a comment earlier. She said, yes, the app they use in Texas is HireVue. HireVue is one of those. In fact, that's based out of Utah, which is where I live, not too far from my city. But HireVue, and then there's a lot of other apps that companies will use. HireVue is one of the larger companies that do those one-way video interviews. Let's see. Alma says, have a phone interview tomorrow. Good. Make sure you take a look at that phone interview video so that you are ready for that. Linda says, no phone interview. Tal says, yes, phone interview. Let's see kind of where you guys are going with this. Yes. I have one today. Good, John. Take a look at both of those videos because they will really help you, and they will give you a little bit of ammunition as you go into this video and phone interview thing that we're going to be happening even more. So, okay, step number 3. Let me jump into step number 3. Again, if you have questions, put a question mark in front of your question, and then ask the question so that we know that it's a question and we can answer it at the end. So step number 3 is to optimize your career materials. So what do I mean by career materials? There's 3 main areas that I want you to optimize and that you need to have ready for this whole process. Number 1, of course, is your resume. Number 2, of course, would be your cover letter. And then number 3 will be your LinkedIn profile. So if you have time over this period where you're either at home or in the transition of moving from one position to another, whatever that is, spend that time working on your career documents. Get them ready, okay? Get them in tip-top shape. And I'm talking we want to see accomplishment statements. We want to see a fantastic professional summary. We want to see your highlights. We want to see a cover letter that is like tip top shape. And then the third thing, of course, is your LinkedIn profile. Now, if you have not yet seen, last week, I was live for 3 days. We did a 3-day live LinkedIn Jumpstart Challenge. If you have not yet seen that, I have a webpage that I'm going to share with you, where at the very top of the webpage, you can actually still grab that challenge. Now, let me quickly show you the page really quickly so you kind of see what I'm talking about. And Troy will pop the link into the chat here. Let me take my screen off so you can see the entire page. At the very top, it says click here to watch the 3-day LinkedIn Jumpstart Challenge. Click on that link at the top. And notice you'll see day 1, day 2, and day 3. You want to make sure you watch all of these, this challenge. And let me know in the chat if you were here with me last week. Just give me a yes. If you were here with me last week or you saw that challenge, pop yes into the chat, and let me know that you were here. You probably saw most of these. If you were, if not, then make sure you take a look at that. This will give you, especially this week, some time to really get your LinkedIn profile kind of ready and in action. So we want to have it optimized 100%. So take a look at that challenge. Now let's jump into optimizing your career documents. Of course, let me make sure. I want to just check my notes and make sure I have everything I wanted to cover on that. Yeah, pretty much. Just spend the time doing that. Now let's move on to step number 4. And step number 4 is to expect delays. Now none of us know what's going to happen in the future. This is all new to every single one of us on planet Earth. We can't predict what's happening. It's almost like, and tell me if you feel this way as well, we are taking this one day at a time. So tomorrow we could wake up and there might be a different topic that I could come here and present to you today. Like this information and everything that's happening to us right now is changing on a day-by-day basis. So we have to understand that there will be delays in this process. Now, I am going to share a template with you in just a second here that talks about how to reach out to a potential employer if you are in the middle of a job search and in the middle of either the interviewing process or like a job offer. Okay, so I'm gonna share that in just a minute. But do whatever you can to just be patient and know that hiring officials on the other end of the table and companies and organizations, they're as uncomfortable as you are. They don't want to be going through this. They want to have their normalcy. They want to be doing business as usual. And so the higher ups will be directing, or company owners or CEOs, they will be directing the company as much as possible to keep things moving forward as much as they possibly can. So again, that means they're still going to try to do the hiring. They're going to think of some other methods to get these job offers through, and just keep in mind that there will be delays in this whole entire process. Now, I also want you to think about this. Don't hesitate to apply for jobs that you know that you qualify for, okay? Because once this whole thing lets up, which I know it's going to let up, and it will, it's just a matter of when this is going to let up, you want to be at the forefront. You want to be the person that is kind of leading the pack of job seekers and individuals that they might be the top candidate. Just be in front, be in the front of everyone, and that's with good communication and not stopping your job search. Okay, tip number 5, and then we are going to take some questions here. So tip number 5, and this is one of my favorites, is to stay positive. So if you guys know me, I'm generally an upbeat, positive person, and I have to admit that this is something that has even gotten me down in a slump at some points, and it's a little bit scary, but don't let fear take you by the hold. And let me just also say, it depends on what news outlet you listen to, because I try to keep tuned in with like the more positive outlets. And I noticed a difference when I was researching for this topic yesterday. There are certain news outlets that they have a more darker negative tone. And then there are some that are a little bit more positive. So I would say filter what it is that you are listening to. Try and keep things positive. Also, I want to say something that has worked really well for us over the last couple of days is just kind of trying to find some normalcy in your everyday schedule. So maybe that's that you get up at 7 a.m. or 8 a.m., whatever that time is, you spend 1 or 2 hours on your job search. Maybe you're still currently employed, you're working there still, but structure out that time so that you can even structure out what I would recommend is movement. If you can get out for fresh air, go on a run, go on a walk, tune into a YouTube fitness channel, do some home workouts, whatever that might be, just do something to keep you moving forward. Now, I want to recommend, if you have not yet joined our free Facebook group, the Career Club, Tori will also pop that into the chat as well. This is a resource that it's really beneficial for a lot of individuals right now, because it's almost like we're kind of banding together in there and having these discussions about this. And it's a great place for you to go if you want to be in a group that this is private. It's just the individuals in this group can see conversations. It's not across the entire board. So make sure you join that group. And it's a free group where we talk about our wins, we talk about our successes, we talk about and provide support to each other. I've been so blown away by the support that others have given to each other. And it's amazing to me. So again, make sure you join that. You will have to answer a couple of questions. We don't just let everyone into this group. We really make sure we are providing a high quality group. Of course, we don't allow spamming and all that stuff. You'll get booted pretty quickly if you try and spam. And we want to keep it positive, supportive, and really a place for you to go to get feedback on questions. And it's amazing how many other people are in the same process as you. And they will give you input. They will tell you their experience and give you exactly some tips on what you can do. Now, I want to share a couple other resources with you. So before we take questions, I do want to share with you sectors that are hiring. So I want you to know that there is still hiring happening, and I want to share specific sectors and give you specific examples. And then I also want to share a template with you that you can use and tailor if you are in that process right now of either maybe you've reached out to them, maybe you've already applied or you haven't heard back, whatever that might be. Let's call this our crisis intervention template. I don't have a name for it, but I just made that up. But that's what we're going to call it. So, okay, let me show you really quickly some slides for sectors that are hiring. So again, I'm going to give you guys specific examples. And someone mentioned in here the restaurant business. Yes, some of the hardest hit industries right now are going to be your travel, your tourism, your hospitality, small business owners, retail workers are even getting hit really hard right now. So, just stay in touch with your supervisors, your managers. If you are on kind of like a mini layoff, let's call this, or you are your work schedule is temporarily suspended, stay in touch with your company, okay? Be in constant communication with them, because you want to be the one that's like, hey, I'm here, I'm ready when I can jump back into the workplace, I'm ready. If you have a side job or something else that I can do, I'm here for that. So again, just make sure that you're staying in touch and keeping that communication open. So industries that are experiencing the uptick would again be government entities and nonprofits. Now, let me give you guys exact examples here. A lot of what we're seeing a lot is that they are hiring for like anyone that can provide public health communications and community support. Okay, so keep your eyes on things like that. So anyone that can provide public health communications and community support. The other thing we're seeing, of course, and this is just an obvious, is the healthcare. So the healthcare system is of course trying to ramp up for everything. And if you're in another country, which I know a lot of you are, you've probably already seen this in full effect in your country. especially in Europe, registered nurses, medical assistants. They're also looking for anyone that can do coronavirus related communications. So anyone that can do research, respiratory therapists. So a lot of these types of positions are really seeing an uptick in hiring right now. Another one, of course, is your biotech and pharmaceuticals. So these, again, would be like researchers and scientists. And you might be saying, well, Heather, I don't have a degree in that area, or I don't have, I don't specialize in that. I want you to keep an open mind to how you approach this, because this is just the beginning. Like, you might see that in 1 month or 2 months, you need to take the same approach in terms of what can you do for these industries that you have a skill in. Now, it might just be answering calls or directing calls or whatever it might be. It might be data mining and coming up with the data and some solutions to some of the things that they're looking for. Like, it could be some of those positions where you don't need to have a degree in nursing, and you don't need a degree in research and analysis. Like, there's a lot of ways that you can approach this. You have to think out of the box, and you might be seeing yourself doing this more as time goes on. Now, the last industry that I want to share with you is business service firms. So when it comes to business service firms, they are looking at third-party staffing and recruitment firms, and they're also looking for contract positions. Now, I want to mention, when it comes to contract work, if you are not getting a paycheck right now and you have bills to pay, and this is just my general from the research I've done and giving you some tips on how to move forward with this. If you're in that situation, you need to start reaching out to your credit card company, start reaching out to whoever you can that will either help you get onto a payment plan or help you do whatever it is necessary so that you are not in a difficult situation, right? You have no money coming in and you can't pay these bills. Start reaching out to some of these organizations that handle your bills and seeing what types of programs they have in place. The other thing you have to keep in mind too is that your governments are working on solutions to help you. And if that's not going to be enough and you are still going to be laid off for a certain amount of time and you need money, look at some of these other contract works. Now, I want to mention to you, because Amazon came out yesterday and said that they are hiring 100,000 more workers, and they're also giving raises. I think it's $2 an hour to each of their employees that handle some of the delivery. So I want you to think about positions that are in demand right now. And if you need a paycheck, seek out those positions and seek out those industries. Even if it's contract work, even if it's temporary work, seek it out if that's what you need. And let me give you another example. So Business Insider reported yesterday that you guys all know Bill Gates, right? The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. They actually just formed a new COVID-19 team, and they are looking for program managers and associate strategy officers. So they're just looking for people to kind of pull things together for them. Now, let me give you a couple other examples. I don't have a slide on this, but I'm going to share a template with you guys in a second. And then, of course, I'm going to take questions. Keep in mind that all of these sectors that I shared with you, so let me show you that list one more time. All of these sectors that I shared with you, they are all hiring in similar capacity. So you don't have to be a nurse. You don't have to be a respiratory therapist. You don't have to be a person in the pharmaceutical industry. They are basically hiring anyone that can do social work, project managers. I know I mentioned that, technicians, data specialists, anyone that can communicate in response to the crisis management. And here's another one, cleaning. A lot of these industries are hiring for cleaning. So keep all that in mind if it's something that you need a quick paycheck and your government is not pulling through for you like you wanted to. These are some options for you. Let's see, there's one more thing. Oh, the other thing I wanted to mention for you is in regard to Amazon, so again, Amazon's hiring 100,000 workers. At least that's what they reported yesterday. They're looking for full and part-time work for their warehouses and their delivery workers. Now, if Amazon's doing the same, keep in mind that there are other individuals or companies that will be doing that same. So think about UPS, think about DoorDash, think about some other positions that maybe you didn't totally consider, and get yourself working if you can in this specific time that we are living in. So again, I want to share the template with you really quickly. But let me just kind of see where you guys are in the chat and how things are going. Looks like you guys have some fantastic comments in here. Erkin says, those are really good information, Miss Heather. Thank you so much. You're so welcome. Thank you for being here. Thanks, you guys. Glad to hear that. Awesome. You guys have some fantastic comments in here. Again, if you have any questions, make sure you pop them into the chat. It looks like we have a couple in here. I'll answer that in just a second here, but I want to share with you guys a template. So here is a template that I quickly threw together yesterday. So I had someone in my Facebook group. Let me remember who it was. It was Layla. I think that's how you say your name. So Layla said she's been wanting to follow up for some time. And so I have a follow-up template. Now I want to share this with you guys. Take a screenshot of it. And then the other thing I want you to do is you need to tailor it, okay? This is a very specific template, but you need to tailor it based on your situation. And I'll tell you exactly how you can tailor that. So let's jump into this template. And this is sort of long, but again, keep in mind that it's showing up long because I have just a little section where you have to replace with something, right? So let's go through this. So you're going to say, dear so-and-so, so whoever your hiring official is, maybe you've been on an interview, maybe you haven't even been on an interview yet, but you want to still keep moving forward. Again, let's call this our crisis. What did I call it before? Our crisis management template. I can't remember. Anyway, so you'll say, I hope this message finds you well. And then you'll say thank you for, and then what I mean by when you say thank you for, you're actually saying thank you for either considering me for the position. So if they haven't yet interviewed you, you'll say thank you for considering me for the position. Or you could say thank you for that interview last week if you had one, or thank you for the interview the week before that. Whatever it is, you're going to thank them for something. Wherever you are in the process, you will replace that little XYZ with where you are in the process. And then you'll say, I know without a doubt my skills and expertise in the areas of, and then you're going to mention your skill, your expertise, your accomplishment, anything that you can that relates specifically to that position, okay? You enter that in there, and then you'll say, will be a great asset to your organization, okay? Then we're going to go on to say, please know, and this is us bringing up the situation that we're all facing right now. We're acknowledging that this is happening. So you want them to know, like, I totally get that you're going through this too, and just acknowledging them. Okay, so please know that despite the uncertain, and then I put in here economic situation, but I put it in brackets because you can change that. If you don't want to say economic situation, you could change it to something else. Like I just put that because I felt like that was appropriate. And then you would say, I am still very interested in, and then I put working with your organization, and I put that in brackets, but you can change that as well. So you could change it to something like, I'm still very much interested in, and you could be more specific in pursuing this opportunity with your organization. You could say in, working with your team, whatever. Like you can change it. If you don't want to change it at all, this is perfect. You could leave it just like that. But I wanted to give you options so you know what to say there. I look forward to hearing, I look forward to hearing any new updates regarding the position. If I can provide additional information to move the hiring process forward, please let me know. So again, you're saying to them, like, I get what's happening. I want to help you move this process forward. If I can do anything, please let me know. And then kind regards and your name. Now you can shorten this template if you want. You can kind of do whatever you want with this template, but it's there for you as a resource to get you started. I'm a big believer in following templates and resources that that make my life easier. And this is one of those templates that will do that. So again, take a screenshot of that, use that template if you're in the middle of following up. And let me know. I would love to know in the chat too. I kind of want to get a feel for where you guys are with this. If you are in that follow-up process. So are you following up currently with an employer? Give me a yes or a no in the chat. If you maybe started that interview process a couple weeks ago and maybe you're waiting on a job offer, or maybe you're waiting on something to come through and you just haven't yet received that, let me know in the chat if you are in that process. I'd love to know how many of you are still in that process. I know that we get posts a lot in our Facebook group where individuals are getting hired. So they are still getting hired, which is why I said don't stop your job search. Hiring is still happening. And it just might have some delays. You got to stay positive about it, get all your career documents ready, all that good stuff. So let me answer some of your questions too while you guys are typing into the chat. So Kevin says, usually follow-up emails are 3 days. Should we extend follow-up emails? It depends, Kevin. So it depends on where you are in the process. I am a big believer in not letting it go more than a week. So if you extend it, you could do a 5 to a 7 day. Don't go any longer than 7 days. You want to stay at the forefront of all of your competition. So that means checking in with the hiring officials, asking how they're doing. That means really getting in touch with them and letting them know, hey, I'm ready. I'm set up to work remotely if I need to. I'll do whatever to make this whole process easier. And that's why I put in that template, if I can provide additional information to move the hiring process forward, please let me know. So you're almost like saying, hey, I'm here and I'm willing and I'm ready. Now, let me just say that if some companies and some organizations pull back on their hiring right now, which a lot of them will, it doesn't mean that you still can't keep in touch, because there are still hiring officials and recruiters doing their job. They are still recruiting and they are still working. So just build that relationship over this time that we have. Okay, someone says, had my final interview a week ago. Awesome. And waiting for a final letter. Should I wait or inquire about it, or just wait to hear back? Definitely inquire. Do not let this be something that you just sit on the fence about. You have to remember, as job seekers, and this applies to this time and another time, it doesn't matter if we're going through a crisis or not. You have to be a very active job seeker. You can't just sit on the fence. Okay. You have to be inquisitive, and of course do it in a very positive, meaningful way where you're inquiring and you're reminding them, hey, remember this accomplishment that I have, or remember this, like this conversation we had, and these are some of my expertise. Like always follow it with like something, a problem you can help them solve. Okay, Kimberly asked a really good question. Any suggestions for communication majors? Oh my gosh. Yes, you said, where's the work? Thanks. Communication majors, this is a fantastic time for you to actually start looking for work. If you have not yet started looking for work, or if you have contract work, I know that most universities, and all the schools are basically closed. So, online, you still have online learning to do, but if you can get your online learning done and you're working and all that good stuff, remember that I mentioned earlier that a lot of these industries are hiring for anyone that can help with communications. So again, look into some of those industries, look into some of those specific companies that are hiring, and find some of those positions, and yes, get in and start applying for those. Mustafa says, are the sectors you mentioned hiring for the finance professionals? I did see, that's not true. I didn't see the finance sector hiring. I actually saw that was based on my research yesterday. And hey, you guys, this could change in 1 week with where we are with things. It could change in 2 weeks. Based on what I noticed is more of those finance sectors. Well, the finance sector, is getting hit pretty hard right now. So when you say finance professional, it totally depends on the position. But I would definitely, if that's your jam, if that's what you're really good at and that's what you do, I would look at some of those sectors and I would specifically sort through to see what you can find in the finance arena. I didn't see that yesterday, but I could have missed it. In fact, Tori, let me see if I gave you, I can't remember if I gave you the link to share. Oh, I did. Okay. This is a lot of the information I found was from Glassdoor. So this week they put out an article about coronavirus related job surge. So Tori can pop that into the chat for you guys, and I will also place it in the comments below so you guys can take a look at that. Just for some light reading if you want to. Okay, put this. Okay. Someone's asking about the Facebook group. Yes, hopefully we got the that into the chat for you so you can join the group, and then it's also in the comments below this video. Is the census still hiring? Carolina, I'm not sure about that. That's something you would have to just do a quick search on Google to see if they are. I don't have a lot of information on that. I would assume so. You'd have to look at that. Good question. Okay, guys, I want to remind you again. So I gave you the template. I shared with you the 5 tips that you can be taking, or the 5 steps that you can be taking right now in your job search. Now we might do another live stream on this topic next week or in the weeks to come, but there is also the topic that we need to cover, and we're not going to do that today, but we will in future live streams, of how this is going to hit you and your career if you are currently working. Like what can you do moving forward? And a lot of these same tips that I mentioned today, a lot of these things you can do if you are finding that your industry is being hit hard right now and you are looking for new opportunities. Now, I want to emphasize really quickly, I shared with you tip number 3 to work this time doing your career documents. Now, if you have not yet seen the 3-day live LinkedIn Jumpstart challenge that we did, make sure you take a look at all 3 of those days. I also want to point out to you really quickly, on that same page that Tori shared with you, we are also doing, we are also running our live launch for LinkedIn Profile Perfection. Now, we actually extended our early bird offer for that program into Thursday. So it was supposed to end yesterday, but I wanted, and normally the price goes up by $100 as of yesterday, but I wanted to give you all the chance to get in before Thursday. Thursday, the doors close to this program for good. I don't know when we're going to open it again. It might be 6 months. It might be a year. I'm not sure when we're going to open it again, but if you want to have LinkedIn as part of your job search strategy, make sure you take a look at that page as well. So Tori, maybe you can pop that in. We did extend our early bird offer on LinkedIn Profile Perfection only until Thursday. So if you take a look at, let me jump back over to my website really quick. So this is, of course, at the very top of the page, you will notice the 3-day LinkedIn Jumpstart Challenge. So you want to make sure you take a look at that. This is our enrollment page. So normally this program we offer for a little bit more than what we have it listed for now, but we are extending this early bird offer for anyone that still wants to get in the door for the program. Now, let me just kind of show you what's inside of this, and you'll be able to see a bunch of results from individuals that have used this program to increase their LinkedIn presence. So this shows you a couple of the things that are in it. We are also offering, and we've never done this before, an exclusive bonus for anyone that pays in full for the program. You also get the Career Advancement Toolkit inside that. Now, the toolkit values at $147. Sometimes we have flash sales for the toolkit, but you actually get that inside of the LinkedIn Profile Perfection course. So again, if you guys are interested in that, make sure you jump in before Thursday to grab this, only because doors close completely. And if you have some time on your hands and you want to really build out your profile, make sure you do that. Thank you, guys. I know that there's a couple more questions in here. I'm going to answer just a couple of those. We have time for that. And I want to appreciate all of you guys for being here. Let's see. Okay, someone says, my new job starts in May. By May, it is the job of an IT recruiter. What should I do? I would definitely keep keep in touch with your hiring manager, whoever you are working with inside that company. Make sure you are keeping in constant communication with them. And I don't mean like emailing them every day. I mean, touch base with them once a week, maybe every other week until your position starts, just to make sure it's moving forward. Now, if you are a little bit nervous about it not moving forward, one thing you can do is stay as an active job seeker, because you never know, something else better might come up before that time. But if you already have a start date and an offer on the table, just keep in touch with them and let them know, hey, I'm ready. Is there anything I can do, work remotely to get myself set up, whatever that is. Like, is there steps they want you to start taking now so that you're ready to go as soon as May starts? So hopefully that gives you guys some perspective on your career in the coronavirus. We might be back here again next week with some more tips for you. If not, I have a video coming up for you, so you'll have that at least. Make sure you join the Facebook group. We're all there networking and connecting with each other during this time. Also, if you want to make LinkedIn part of your job search strategy, which I highly, highly, highly recommend you do, make sure you take a look at LinkedIn Profile Perfection. All the links are in the chat or in the comments below this video. And I will talk to you guys again soon. Everyone stay safe out there. Wash your hands. Keep your social distancing right. And we will hopefully talk again really soon.